We was saying in these parts, your woman's got a brass neck. This relates to people who exhibit no shame around errors they may have made, or just got a brass neck. And with a perfect example of just such a person this week in the shape of dumped DUP leader Arlene Foster, who is touting herself around as an expert in the field of, would you believe it, green energy. For the small fee of £10,000 a day, you can get Arlene along to lecture you. Now, this is the same woman who oversaw the most disastrous green energy scheme in the world in the shape of the renewable energy, or what we now call cash for ash, which cost us and the public purse hundreds of millions of pounds. You know, this is a bit like the captain of the Titanic promoting himself as an expert in safe shipping, or Sammy Wilson doing seminars in healthy eating, or even Gerry Adams giving speeches in pacifism. Sir Patrick Coughlin, the chair of the subsequent RHI inquiry, he indicted Arlene for not having read her own department's legislation. Yet this is the same woman who now feels she's qualified to lecture others on green energy policy. The degree of arrogance this exhibits is mind-bending, even in the world of politics. What it shows is a complete lack of contrition for the hundreds of millions her lack of oversight caused. Money which could have been spent in our NHS or education sector. For example, BBC NI, this Spotlight programme this week, brilliant programme. They did a heartbreaking examination on the complete lack of support for local families coping with children with severe special needs. So, if by some fluke Foster manages to find someone stupid enough and who's never read the truth about her past, who pays her £10,000, I'd suggest she immediately donate that money to this charity. Some chance. Arlene's belief that she's qualified to lecture others on a subject she so spectacularly failed exhibits a core characteristic of many politicians, namely a greedy, self-centered arrogance, incapable of recognising, much less apologising, for even the most egregious errors of judgment. See, a normal person, having overseen the RHI debacle and be subsequently unceremoniously dumped by their own party, would have quietly retired from public life to possibly reflect on the character defects which led them to such abysmal failures. Not Arlene. Oh, not Arlene Foster. Instead, she immediately jumped across to the Big Island to front shows on the far-right GB News, whose viewers, no doubt, are willing to forgive any incompetence so long as you're the sort of person who thinks covering the 12th of July parades on national TV is of paramount importance. Not so here on the small island. We don't forget, nor forgive, Foster's disastrous political career. And it's our responsibility to point this out, which I hope I have just done. Oh, but by the way, if there are people stupid enough to pay Foster $10,000 a day advising firms in green issues, I'm available to spend a day lecturing them on the intricacies of nuclear fusion in the 21st century for the cut-down price of only $5,000 a day. Well, the difference is I acknowledge I have no credentials to do so, but I think Arlene's story proves that competence is irrelevant these days. All that's needed is a total brass neck.